going to work, and he had diaper rash almost every week to the point where his butt was bleeding and I had to fix it every weekend.
Can you tell me on what day you moved out?
October 16th.
Had there been an argument?
Yes.
About what?
They came home, they had been drinking. My brother was back from Iraq with his wife, and they came into the house and they were stomping and slamming doors and screaming. And I asked my brother, I was like, can you be quiet? My son is sleeping. And he stood up and he was like, I don't have to be quiet, I don't have to do anything. And then Ron came up behind him and he was like, this is my house and this is my rules, and if you don't like it, you can get out. And he was screaming and acting like a psycho, so I went and got my husband. And he got in my husband's face and tried to start a fight with him and said, come on, big boy, come on, big boy. You want to do something?
Okay, I got it. So you left that night?
Yes. And she came into my bedroom and she brought her purse with her. She took out her wallet and she opened it up and she went to looking through her credit cards and she went to give me the black one that I use sometimes, and then she goes, oh, you have my GM card, why don't you just use that one? Get a week at the hotel, and I'll get you somewhere to live. At the end of the week, I'll get you somewhere to live.
Well, why would she get you somewhere to live if you were working and your husband was working?
Because she felt bad because we had moved there.
You had the credit card?
Correct.
Ms. Coleman, how did she get the credit card?
She had it. She was going to obtain some Barbie dolls for me at her job.
She gave it to me.
Just a second. When did you give her your credit card?
Probably 2 weeks prior to her leaving the house.
Does that sound familiar to you?
She gave me the card almost every day, all the time, for gas, cigarettes, everything.
How many times did she use the credit card? If I were to look at the slips from the credit card company, how many times before October had she used the credit card?
Probably about 6.
And would you give it to her each time, or was it in her possession?
Usually.
Not usually. Was it in her possession?
She kept it. She kept it. She kept it.
She kept it?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I'm going to get to the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I would like to see the police report that was filled out with regard to the credit card. Well, first of all, Mrs. Coleman, you filled out this police report. This is in your handwriting.
Yes, they made me.
Nobody makes you do anything, and you say here that she used it without my knowledge or permission.
Right.
Who made you? Your boyfriend?
No, when the sheriff came to the house.
Why did the sheriff come to the house?
Because he had checked our account online, and she had used
Who
it.
had?
My husband.
Yeah.
And she had used it at the motel room, charging $309. She went 3 different times in a matter of hours to the Meijer at the bottom of the hill and went on a shopping spree. Okay.
And
so
charged what?
Energy drinks, men's boxer shorts, women's bras, conditioner, shampoos, all the stuff that she brought the policeman to the house to get that night.
Miss Coleman, I don't understand something, madam. I mean, I hear you talking about all the things that she charged on this. You're not talking about a lot of money. They all look like emergency things that one would use if they were staying temporarily someplace that they needed interimly, especially when you have a baby.
Right.
And you knew she had the card, and she had had the card before.
Right.
Don't you think the smarter idea, rather than involving the police in this, was after you went online and saw that she had charged the hotel room and charged the other thing, to call the credit card company and say, listen, my daughter has the card. She's not authorized to use it anymore. I want to stop the use of the card. Do not let it be used again.
Prior to this, she had went to my salon and was mad at her husband, charged $680-some worth of tanning products. My husband and her had gotten to a confrontation over it, and he told her, you are not allowed to use this credit card unless your mother gives you permission. He said, because if you use this without my knowledge, he said, I will file a complaint on you.
Don't you think that it would have been smarter, more maternal, if you say to whatever his first name is, Joe, she's my daughter, she left the house, she's got my grandson with her, we don't want her to use the card anymore, just call the company and tell them, shut off the card. I don't want to involve the police, I don't want her to be arrested. Did you say that to him?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he say?
Well, he said that he had already told her that she was not allowed to use it, And before she brought it back, minutes before she came to my house with the policeman standing there, she stopped and got a pack of cigarettes at the corner store.
You think he did the right thing?
No, ma'am.
You think you did the right thing?
Yes.
You did the wrong thing. Understand something? You're not blood. And what you did was irrevocably injure, if it hadn't been before, her relationship with her daughter. If you didn't want her to have the credit card, you should have taken it back.
We attempted to take it back.
No. Your girlfriend says that you told her you can hold on to it, but if you use it again without your mother's permission or my permission, I'm going to call the police. And I'm saying, is she lying to me?
No.
Well, and I'm saying to you, if you didn't want the temptation there, you should have taken the credit card back. But you don't put her in a situation where she's got a baby and the police come to the motel and take her away and arrest her. That can stop a process going from which it's very hard to extricate yourself. Very stupid. But they were entitled to do it. And I somehow think that your mother is sorry that it happened. She's sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I know.
You got it?
I know.
Okay. What does your mother have in the house that belongs to you?
I have pictures of some of this stuff, and then I wrote a list of all the things
Let
that
me
she
see.
has. And I called her and asked for his high chair, and she said, when I was in the hotel, because I said he was eating on the bed, and she said, well, he needs his high chair. And I said, I want my caricature and the calendar of him that I've been making of him since I was born. And she said, you know, I don't think I have those things. All I want is some respect. And she said, Ron's going to take care of it from here, and threw the phone down.
Okay. You have these things?
I see she showed you a little picture of a toy box that Nicholas is in. That's mine. I bought everything that she's talking about, and I have receipts. I have $10,000 worth of receipts. Mr. Turietti was asked if he had got everything out. He said, yes, he did. He looked at me and said, all's in there is garbage. I can go down to my job, get a truck, come up and throw all that garbage away if you want me to. I said, don't worry about it, John. I'll clean it up.
Did you go to the house?
Yes, Your Honor. I went on
With or
Monday
without the police?
with the police.
Fine.
And before we walked in, they wouldn't let us in the house until they had the credit card and the key to the tanning salon. She had to come up from the hotel. We gave them back the credit card, but we are not allowed to go anywhere in the house except the bedroom. Our stuff was in the basement, in another closet.
There's a lot of junk here.
Yes, Your Honor.
All of this doesn't add up to the motel room, right?
Right.
So what are you doing here?
I want the calendar that I've been making of my son since he was born. There's no, you cannot put a price on that. I put pictures of
Okay,
them.
do you have the calendar?
No, ma'am. And if it wasn't all that garbage, and what I had done was bought cases
Do you have
of
the
Pampers.
calendar? The
No,
answer is
ma'am.
no. She doesn't have the calendar.
That's just to hurt me. That's just to keep things from me that are
She
of
doesn't
my
have it.
sons.
Listen, you used a credit card, and I think that you probably knew that you weren't supposed to use the credit card at the time when you used it, whether you did or whether you didn't. What he had to pay for as a result of your using the credit card is more than this.
They didn't pay for anything. That's why my case was dismissed on January 21st, because they could not provide the receipts because they didn't pay the bill.
Oh, really?
Really.
Is that right?
You would have to ask Ron about that. We did pay. The reason it was dropped is I'm going through some cancer treatments. I didn't feel like going to, I couldn't. I was throwing
All
up.
I want to know is, did you pay for the motel?
We've reported it to the credit card company
They did not.
as a misuse of the credit card.
So the answer is you didn't.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
She said that there's no need to make the payments now that the car's wrecked. So she told
No,
me.
you just made that up as you're going.
No, ma'am.
Did you say that to him?
No, I did not.
That's not what you wrote in your complaint, sir.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Beatrice Turrieta says her mother, Beatrice Coleman, had her falsely arrested for credit card theft. Beatrice says her mother gave her that card.
You bought certain things for your grandson. Toy box.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. High chair?
No, ma'am. I don't have the toy, but I didn't. Oh, that's a walker, yes. But I don't have that. They have that.
Yeah.
But this you have.
Yes, ma'am.
You want this?
I don't have that other thing.
Just listen to me. Do you want this?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You have any problem with them having that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you want to go over there in the company of a peace officer within 5 days, you can get those things. Understood?
Understood.
Very good. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was born to that, who I haven't seen since I was 3, and I will never see again.
I would have still give her the $3,000 if that's what she wanted.
She's not a mother. She doesn't know how to be a mother. She never will be a mother.
When she came to my house, she asked my husband where his connection was for cocaine, so I'm sure that's probably what she needed it for. Either that or a gallon of Captain Morgan every week.
I do like Captain Morgan, but I'm a little fat to be on the coke, you think?
She's been in prison before for
Sponsor,
welfare
actually.
fraud.
I was in jail. I wasn't, and I've made mistakes in my life.
My dad told me I was selling my soul to the devil when I came to her house, and he was right.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lester versus Lester. Step forward, please.
Marilee and Thomas Lester are suing their daughter, 22-year-old food server Natasia Lester, for the unpaid balance on a '97 Saturn. Natasia claims her parents took the car away from her.
Mr. and Mrs. Lester, this is your daughter. How old are you?
22.
According to your complaint, you co-signed for a car for your daughter about 2 years ago. And the agreement was that she was to make the payments on the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And she did make payments on the car for 2 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And then something happened. She was in an accident. And according to you, she just stopped making payments on the car. She said her insurance lapsed and she stopped making payments on the car. You want the car payments because
Yes, ma'am.
you don't want your credit to be ruined. Your daughter says that she made the payments for 2 years, and I assume that she intended to keep on making the payments, but that you had the car towed from her place of employment to your house, and she no longer has the car.
That is true.
So then I guess a lot of this has to do with timeline. Why you're suing your child, I don't even want to get into. But you purchased the car when, Natasia?
In September of 2002?
May I see the paperwork? Do you have the paperwork?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it, please?
You want just the contract or just all of the paperwork? Here's the contract.
Good luck.
Yes, it's very small. It was faxed over.
I couldn't find the original.
What were your payments, Natasia?
188.57
And you made the payments from September 2002 until when?
until August of 2004.
When was the accident?
It was in September of 2004.
And what did you do with the car?
I left it at my place of employment, trying to get it fixed. I had made arrangements with a friend of mine that worked there, and he was going to help me get it fixed.
What was wrong with the car?
I ran over a tire on the freeway, and the extent of the damage, I'm not quite sure exactly. I know the radiator was busted. It was undrivable. I had to have it towed.
And according to your parents, you let the insurance lapse on the car.
Yes, I had.
Why is that?
Just making payments for other things, and I know that I shouldn't have, but it got lapsed. That was on my own fault. I let that happen.
Now, you did in fact tow the car,
Yes.
Yes, I put it on a trailer and took it to my house.
and then you went over to speak to her.
Yes.
Well, tell me about the conversation.
I just asked her how she was doing and what happened, and she's told me she couldn't. She swerved trying to avoid a tire, and then she just kept driving the car because she didn't want to stop. Then I said, well, are you okay? She says, yes, I'm fine.
Okay.
And then I just went back to my work, and I was talking to my guys at work what to do with the car. And I said, well, I'll have to bring it over to my shop and check it out to see what really needs to be done. I had no knowledge that she was going to have anything to do with getting it fixed with
Well,
anybody
didn't
over
you
there.
ask her?
No, I did not at that time.
Why not?
I figured, well, I'll just take it to my house. That way I can take care of it, get it fixed, and we can get it back on the road.
Mr. Lester, you just precipitously took her car away. You can't do that.
The car's still in my name too, ma'am.
You can't do that, sir.
She said that there's no need to make the payments now that the car's wrecked. So she told me.
No, you just made that up as you're going.
No, ma'am. She,
Did you say that to him?
No, I did not.
That's not what you wrote in your complaint, sir. You have the car now?
yes, it's in the garage.
Very good. So I don't know what you're complaining about. I assume you're fixing it, right?
No, I'm not fixing it.
Well, I suggest you
I
do.
can't because I didn't have the money.
I suggest, Mr. Lester, that you fix it because you had a contract with your daughter. And you breached that contract when you towed the car without her consent or permission, without having a discussion with her, back to your home. Now, I don't know what else was going on between you and your daughter, but clearly that's not the way family treats family.
Can I go ahead and say something?
After we went ahead and had the car towed to our home, she made no contact whatsoever to go ahead and say, you know, what can I do? I know I didn't make the insurance payments. Why, I mean...
I know I didn't make the car payments.
Didn't make the car payments.
Just a second. Don't say she didn't make the car payments. She did make the car payments. She's not obligated to make the car payments now that you have the car in your possession.
The only reason I towed the car is because my boss, he gets upset when crash vehicles are in his parking lot.
We couldn't leave it in that yard, and she wouldn't
Then you
moved
have a
it.
discussion with your daughter. You just don't take it.
She was not at work the next day.
Mr. Lester, Mrs. Lester, you got a lot of excuses. I don't know what problem you have with your daughter. It has nothing to do with this car. Your case is dismissed. You have the car, fix it and sell it. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step back. Now, this is case number 474 on the calendar in the matter of Bankston versus Holtgren. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Bankston, who are these people?
This is April Holgren, Bo's daughter, and my fiance, Randy.
And who is this?
It's my fiance, Tara Harris.
Everybody brings a fiance. What do they have to do with this case? Anything?
She's seen some stuff and heard some stuff, and other than that, that's about it.
Okay. According to what I read, Miss Bankston, he used to be a friend of yours or a boyfriend of yours?
He used to live with me.
Live with you as a boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
And then he went to jail?
No, ma'am. He lived with me after he came out of jail.
What year did you go to jail, sir?
In January '92.
And how old was April in 1992?
7.
Who did she live with?
When I was in jail, she was living with my mom and my dad.
What happened with that?
They died.
When did they die?
In '96, my dad died, and in '98, my mom died.
What happened in 1998?
She went to live with a friend of mine for a little while, and her mother come got her. After that, Mary went and got her at a motel room.
How old was she at the time, Miss Bankston?
She was 13 when I took her.
How did you find her in a motel room?
She called me and told me she wanted something she hadn't eaten in a few days, and I took her something to eat. And when I got to the motel, it was a bad place for her to be. And so I took her with me, and I raised her until he got out.
When did you get out?
In 2001, October 2001.
Were you in communication with Miss Bankston while your daughter was living with her?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you tell her in this communication?
Told her I appreciated everything she was doing for her.
Who was supporting her at the time she was living with you?
I was.
When you got out of jail, Mr. Holgren, where did you go?
I moved in with Mary.
Mary and your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to work?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you start supporting the household?
I was pulling my share, ma'am.
What was he paying for?
He was paying like the electric bills, and I paid the house payment because it was my house before he came along, and he paid the electric bill and things like that. He was pulling his weight as long as he lived there. Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever ask Miss Bankstrom how much she spent on your daughter while you were incarcerated?
No.
Why not?
I don't have any idea why I didn't.
Well, this lawsuit's very simple. It said that at some point you used her credit card after you got out of jail while you were living with her. You used her credit card. You told her you would pay for the bills on her credit card, and you didn't. And you owe her some money, $1,100.
Right.
So?
She got me some credit cards off her account, and went and ate on them and done some stuff on them. I took my boy to World Series, Little League World Series up in Oklahoma on a gas card, and other than that, you know, I was paying them until I left.
And so what happened when you left?
I don't know, it wasn't a good scene.
Did you leave with your daughter or without your daughter?
I left without my daughter.
So you left your daughter there?
No, she wasn't living there at the time, I don't think.
Where was she living?
Living at another place.
Where was she living?
She was living with another friend of ours.
Why?
Her and her father did not get along, so she moved out of the house.
Okay. Can I see the charges that he made?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Would you like all the evidence? Or just
Sure.
that?
Golden Corral?
That's an eating establishment.
Japanese Palace?
Another eating establishment. I have several eating establishments that we ate at on my credit cards, too.
Well, this is a lot of eating out.
Been 10 years since I ate out anywhere, so we kind of ate out pretty regular.
So why don't you pay for it?
Well, I really don't feel like I owe her anything on that, because I done some other things, you know. I wasn't trying to get anything from her that I done over there. I mean, you know.
Well, give me an example, sir.
I put a storage building in her backyard. It was like $900-something bucks. I helped put a central air and heating unit in her house. That was labor on there. I put some electrical work in the garage and stuff.
Well, how much do you think it takes to support a teenager, sir? A month?
Quite a bit.
Listen, you know, if you have a large golden retriever, you can't take care of a large golden retriever for less than $100 a month. So would you say it costs $200 a month to take care of a teenager?
At least.
Let's try 3.
Yeah, probably.
14 months, right? And she was there 14 months, and you didn't pay any support, right? So why would you stick her with $1,100 worth of bills?
The bottom line is that it was kind of crazy over there. Just several things that happened, and you know, she wrecked my motorcycle and all that. You know, right there at the end. She wrecked my motorcycle.
She wrecked your motorcycle. I couldn't understand. She wrecked your motorcycle. How'd she do that?
Well, she took off on it and crashed
That he
it.
wouldn't even had if I had not had financed it for him.
And I was without the motorcycle for 3 months. I paid $500 a month on that while I was in the shop. $6,500 a month.
Well, did she do that on purpose?
Well, I told her not to get on it because she never rode one before, and she took off on it on her own wheel and crashed it. Hurt herself real bad. You know, and then right before I got the motorcycle, I was going to refinance the motorcycle because she kept hounding me about getting it refinanced,
Because
out of her name.
she was on a loan.
Right. And,
Well, she asked you to refinance it because she didn't want to be on the loan.
Right.
Well,
So
that sounds right to me.
Well, I finally did that, and the day I was
No,
going
he didn't.
The day I was going to refinance it, she called me and told me that she wasn't going to sign off on that loan until I give her $1,000. And I said, well, I ain't give you $1,000. And I went up there and traded it in and got it out of her name anyway.
What a prince. This is your fiancé. Is there anything you want to say to me?
Yeah, do I need to stand up?
You do.
I just have one comment, and that is whenever he went to refinance the motorcycle last year, he got his credit report and got it back, and it was about that thick, where he only had 4 credit cards in his name that he had gotten since they split up. Well, this had 18 open accounts on it.
We're not talking about the charges for those.
I know, but what I'm saying is...
What's your name?
Tara Harris.
Miss Harris, how old are you?
32.
You have children?
1.
How old?
12.
Who supports that child?
Me and him support him, and I get child support.
Get child support from the child's father?
Yes.
Get child support every month?
No, ma'am.
Every week?
No, ma'am.
How often?
Supposed to get it every month.
Yeah, and what happens?
He's been living at my house. He was with his dad. He's been living with us for the last year.
Oh, so before that he was living with his father?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you paying child support
Yes,
to his
ma'am.
father? How often?
Out of every paycheck, weekly.
Now, when you don't get child support from his father, does that annoy you?
Yes, ma'am.
And that child is biologically related to you.
Correct.
And biologically related to his father. How do you feel about somebody who doesn't feel any responsibility to somebody who supports their child for 14 months?
She lived with me for 5 years before he got out.
5 years. And pays for clothes, doctor, shoes, vacation, everything else. And doesn't say, as soon as I get out, I'm going to start paying you back for whatever you laid out, because I know that that's my responsibility. Think that kind of person has good moral fiber?
Actually, I think Bubba does have good moral fiber. He just, you know, he didn't work for 10 years. He didn't have the money.
Well, he does now.
Yes, ma'am, he does, and he
So
greatly
just a second.
appreciates.
Just a second. I don't care if he appreciates. You got to put your money where your mouth is, honey. Appreciating is not good enough. How could you say he's got good moral fiber? He's working now. And if his child was supported by a stranger for 5 years, and not only supported by, but nurtured by, stayed with, you know, took care of when she was sick, whatever else, you start paying that back. You start saying that was my obligation. And because I committed a crime doesn't mean that I don't have that obligation. So instead of not paying her support, now, I'm not talking about a year ago or 2 years ago, I'm talking about now. Instead of supporting your child, to whom he is not obligated in any way legally, you should send that money to her. She's not even suing for that money. I would love for her to do that. All she says was he used the credit card, $1,100, and that he should pay. Don't you think he should pay that too? Minimally.
No, I don't think he should pay that credit card debt.
You think he should pay her for supporting his daughter?
He's probably, yeah, I would say that he's probably responsible for that.
Well,
I
she's
know
not
that
suing. She's not suing him for that. She says, I took that responsibility on myself, and I'm not even going to pursue that. I just want what he's supposed to pay me on the credit card when he left. You get my drift.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,100. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I felt he can buy other things. He can buy a new Harley, but he couldn't pay me $1,100 for credit card bills that he charged up.
What he'll go for? I mean, I don't know what I've done. If she wouldn't have been there, I don't know where she'd be, you know?
He has somebody else, I have somebody else. We're friends. We have a daughter together.
I'm just glad she's going to get paid so I don't have to hear him argue anymore.
I will never put nobody on my credit cards ever again.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fournier versus Cratterville, step forward, please.
22-year-old mechanic Timothy Fournier is suing his former live-in girlfriend, 18-year-old Laura Cratterville, for rent and for damage to his property. Laura claims she paid her rent in cash.
Mr. Fournier, the defendant was your girlfriend. You lived together for a while. It is your claim she owes you some money for rent and property that you claim she destroyed of yours. The defendant says that she gave you money every week and that whatever property she had of yours she returned after she received a telephone call from the police. When did you and the defendant move in together, and what kind of property?
We moved into an apartment on September 1st.
In whose name was the lease?
Both of ours.
Have a copy of the lease?
Yes, I do.
Can I see it, please? Mr. Fournier, does your hand always shake, or do I make you a little nervous?
A little both.
No, I just make you nervous. Don't be nervous. It's a Tuesday. I don't do anything really bizarre to litigants until Friday.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I had a very big loan on a truck. What happened is it was taken and burnt. And
Your Honor, that's not true. He took it.
You pled guilty to burning the truck?
yeah, well, yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Timothy Fournier says his ex-girlfriend Laura Cratterville owes for rent and for breaking his PlayStation 2.
All right, so tell me how much money she owes you and from what?
I have her owing half the security deposit and the first and second month's rent that she had never paid me for. And that came up to...
Well, did you get the security deposit back?
No, because of the damages that she had made to the house.
Did you pay any of the rent?
Your Honor, the agreement was I'd give him $100 a week, and from the date we moved in until the date we left, I'd given him $100 every week, except the last week I gave him $60.
Is that right?
No.
Well, how much did she give you?
$15, $20 here for the odds and ends.
Well, did you keep a record of what she gave you?
Of what she gave me, no.
Well, how am I supposed to figure that out, Mr. Fournier?
I have no idea. But
Me neither.
But I did not...
Me neither. When two children want to play house and then it doesn't work out, you come into court and you say, here, this is my problem, you figure it out. Well, that's not the way responsible people behave. Did you keep a record?
No, Your Honor.
When did you separate?
The day we moved out, on November 15th.
Tell me about it.
We had gotten to an argument that spawned from an online, me talking online about certain people, and then it spawned into like this big giant argument where insults were thrown back and forth till finally we had decided to break up.
Okay.
And I was planning on leaving, so I called my mother so I could pick up my brother's truck. When I went down there to get my brother's truck, and my dad had met me to help me move all my stuff out. When I got there, the house had been ransacked and the door was left wide open.
Can I see it, please?
The door was not open, and the house was not destroyed, except from what he had taken with him.
And that's what the apartment looked like when we had got back.
You made a mess, madam.
Your Honor,
yes, you did.
The house was a mess before
Oh,
we even
no. You made a mess. You made a mess. Absolutely. What? It looks like all her clothes.
A lot of things would look like they're ransacked and thrown around the house.
That's the way the house always looked.
No.
No,
it's
it
always
really
looked
did.
like that. No, no.
That's the bedroom. We didn't have anything in there but clothes. We didn't have a bed. We didn't have nothing.
Nobody
It was-
lives like this.
We did,
Except maybe a
unfortunately.
14-year-old.
We really did.
Well, you should have been neater.
Should have been.
Okay. How did you get out of this lease? I'm curious.
She had signed herself off the lease, so what I had done is I was claiming bankruptcy, so I added that to my bankruptcy.
Why were you claiming bankruptcy?
I put myself into a lot of debt.
How old are you?
22.
How did you put yourself in so much debt that at your age you have to declare a bankruptcy?
I was charged with burning my truck and attempting to fraud. So then when I pled out, I couldn't claim it. So
You're going to have to be more specific with me, sir. You're being very circumspect.
I had a very big loan on a truck, and then what happened is it was taken and burnt. And
Your Honor, that's not true. He took it.
You had a truck that was on a lease.
yes,
And you owed a lot of money on it.
yes,
And it broke down.
no, it was crashed and burned.
You were charged with it and you pled guilty to burning the truck?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. And then you had to make restitution
Yes.
for the truck. And how much did you owe?
I owed 18 on the truck, 18,000.
So you stuck the leasing company with $18,000.
Well, yeah, I mean, I claimed
What do you mean, well,
bankruptcy.
yeah?
I mean, they came after me and I went bankrupt.
What do you think? You think somebody comes down and gives the leasing company $18,000? When you declare bankruptcy, if you own somebody a debt and you declare bankruptcy, what that means is that they're now stuck with a truck that you burned.
Yeah.
Who advised you to do that? Your father? You didn't advise him to do that, did you?
Nope.
I should hope not. So what you're telling me, sir, is what you did was you decided to lump the whole thing together. That when you declared bankruptcy for this truck, you also lumped together the broken lease.
Yeah.
And you expect sympathy from me, is what I'm asking you.
No, I'm not expecting
Ah,
sympathy.
perfect, good. All right, so what property do you claim she took or destroyed?
She had taken my PlayStation 2 that night.
Good. Now, she says in her answer that she returned it to you.
She did, but it came back broken.
Where did you get the PlayStation 2 from?
Sears.
And you put it on your credit card?
Yes.
You declare bankruptcy on that credit card, too?
Yes.
Get out of here. Is he playing with a full deck?
Yes.
Does he not understand a concept of morality?
Yes, he does.
Well, it's not evident here, sir. He took advantage of Sears by lumping them into his bankruptcy rather than paying off the credit card. And now you're suing her because you want the money. I assume if I give you the money for the PlayStation that you broke, you're going to give it to Sears, right?
No.
Get out of here. Oh, goodbye. Have a happy life. Dad, you got a lot of work to do. He's 22, maybe still salvageable. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out. That's case number 437 on the calendar in the matter of Mohajer versus Ramos. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir.
Mr. Mohajer, according to your complaint, sir, you and the defendant had a relationship and have a child together.
Yes, Your Honor.
And while you were together several years ago, Ms. Ramos didn't have sufficient credit to secure a credit card in her own name. You agreed to get one for her, and the condition was that she would make the payments on the card. You and the defendant were living together at the time, and when you broke up, she stopped making payments on the credit card, leaving you a balance of almost $2,000. You want her to make those payments.
Yes.
Plus, you have a complaint against her for harassment, which I will give you about 30 seconds to talk to me about. Ms. Ramos says that she spent a fortune of money on daycare for your son, that you finally were ordered to pay child support. She hasn't seen any child support from you since the order was made in November. That's her defense. When did you live together? From when to when?
As of December 2002, all the way till July of 2004.
And when was your son born?
December 2002, on the 30th.
And when did you get this credit card?
Back of August 2003.
And from August of 2003 until you separated in July of 2004, who paid for that credit card?
She did.
Solely.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you stop making payments on the card, Miss Ramos?
I stopped making payments after August 10th was my last payment.
Why?
I don't owe him anything anymore. We are not together anymore, and I've paid over $9,000 in daycare. He has not helped me out in any way with my son, even when we lived together.
Well, Miss Ramos, you originally had an agreement with him, and your agreement with him provided that if he got you a credit card, you would make the payments. Because you had made the payments, according to you. You'd made the payments until August of 2004. That's
did.
what you said.
I never asked him to apply for the credit card.
That's not the
He was never
issue.
helping out. He said, I got this card for you. Since I can't help you out with groceries or clothes or anything else, we'll use the credit card and we'll pay half and half every month. That was the agreement. I did not ask him to apply for the card.
So is what you're telling me that you were each paying on this credit card?
No, I ended up paying it because he's this car salesman and he never made enough money. He only had enough money to pay for his new boat. He didn't make that much money.
Who did you live with?
We lived with him and his father and his aunt. And
So you lived in his
cousins.
home?
Yes, with his family.
Who paid rent?
Often he would pay $500 a month to his father, but he didn't pay every month.
Your Honor, I have text up
Just
showing
a second. Making excuses, Miss Ramos. If you made payments on this credit card from the time you got it in 2003 until August of 2004, then that supports the plaintiff's statement that you agreed to make payments on this credit card.
The charges on the credit card were purchases that were made for myself, for him, and my son. All the stuff was stuff for the three of us. That was when we were together, and now that we're not together, I don't see how he can come back and sue me for stuff.
Let me see the bills on the credit card, please. While you were living with the plaintiff, what other household expenses did you pay for?
I got the groceries.
Okay.
And the clothes for my son, and the bottles, and the formula, and all
Okay.
that stuff on the credit card, and I paid it every month.
Okay.
I paid for daycare.
Just a minute. What are these charges for American Furniture Mart in Dallas, 363? What is that?
That was furniture when I needed to move out from his home. I had to buy furniture for my new apartment with me and my son.
So you expect him to pay for that?
I actually made a payment after that on August 10th for $400 to cover that.
Well, that doesn't cover the $306 and $363.
What's the other one?
Supercenter.
Groceries and stuff for our new apartment. I had to get out. It was a very bad situation.
Well, that doesn't mean he pays for it. That's what happens when you're not married. Bad situation, you have to move out.
I would trade in to pay $500 a month any day over paying the daycare, the bills, the grocery, and all that stuff.
Listen, Miss Ramos, you went to family court to get an order of support?
Yes, we did.
And you've gotten an order of support. An order of support was made by the family court in November. Have you paid that award?
Yes, I have indication letter here showing my child support that I paid. Her lawyer failed to get an account number
May I see it, please?
set up, so the checks that I sent were sent back. And I had to beg and plead with my lawyer to get a hold of her lawyer, but her lawyer would refuse to contact us back. So I finally received a letter on January the 8th showing that finally they set up an account number. So and the checks were mailed out actually about a week ago.
Your Honor, I have where they now are going to garnish his wages because he has not made those payments.
And she'll be receiving those, they said, within the end of the week, if not first
I
of the next
believe he
week.
sent them. I believe he sent
And
them.
I also have where he enrolled his son in the daycare where he's currently at and has not helped pay for it at all.
I have check deposits showing that I made a deposit when he was enrolled, Your Honor.
A deposit of $200, but I pay $800 a month, every month. It's come out of my account.
Just a second.
And I have the Chase account.
Listen to me. Miss Ramos, when you were together, who made more money?
I did.
You are going to pay more money for support for this child than he is if you make more money than he does. That's no question about that. That's just the way things are. But you had an agreement with him. And your agreement with him, based upon the evidence, based upon the course of conduct, was you were going to pay this credit card, and you used it as if it were your own. And I can tell you that because after you left, you continued to use this credit card for things that you needed.
For me and my son. Mm-hmm.
Well, he's not responsible for you. He's not your husband. You chose to have a child
I don't
with him.
deny that I didn't make the charges. I know that I made the charges.
Well, you made the charges.
But
You
what
made
I'm
the charges at a
saying
time.
is he owes me more than I owe him
Then
as
you
far
have
as
to sue.
daycare.
Then you have to sue it. No. Listen to me.
He enrolled
you
him
raised...
in the daycare. Let me show you the
No,
enrollment.
Miss Ramos, you're not following me. Miss Ramos, the court made an order of support. The order of support was what the court believed was consistent with your individual income and the needs of the child. You have a right to appeal that judgment if you like, but what you cannot do is resort to self-help and say, well, I didn't get what I wanted in the child support hearing, therefore I'm not going to pay this credit card anymore, when you made an agreement with him to pay the credit card and you used the credit card as if it was your own. And you did use the credit card as if it was your own because you used it after you moved out of his home to buy things for your new home.
But it's not $1,700 in charges. The other charges were stuff when we were together and stuff for the three of us.
And what I'm telling you,
the agreement was we were both going to pay for that stuff.
No, and I don't believe that. I believe that he paid for certain things. Now I'm speaking. Hey, I'm speaking. I believe that he paid for certain things in the house, and you paid for certain things in the house. He paid the rent, and I assume he paid other fixed expenses, and you paid for food, and you paid for clothing for the child, and you paid for the daycare.
So he's paid nothing for his son.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,800. That's all. I see I'm not getting to you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think he's very jealous. We just separated, and now that I've moved on, I've gotten married.
She's a teacher. She's teaching fellow kids out there this kind of responsibility. It's kind of sad.
He hasn't helped at all.
The only reason she left because I gave him too much attention, didn't give her enough attention.
It's like super dad, you know? He gets all the benefits of being a father. He gets to see him half the time, and then doesn't have to pay a dime. Let's be nice.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Johnson versus Simon. Step forward.
Operator Sharon Johnson is suing her daughter, 26-year-old homemaker Celicia Simon, for an unpaid loan when she fell on hard times. Sharon claims Celicia is trying to call it a gift.
Miss Johnson, this is your daughter, and it is your claim that she owes you for some rent when she lived with you for 3 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And also a loan of $2,500. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Quite frankly, Miss Johnson, I'm not so interested in the rent that you claim she owes you for the 3 months that she lived there. You indicate in your complaint that your daughter and her children needed a place to live. They moved in with you. She agreed to give you $300 a month. She didn't have it at the time. She stayed with you for 3 months. That's $900. And subsequently, you all decided that it would be best if she and her children had their own place to live. She needed rent, first, last, and security. I don't know what it was. So you gave her $2,500. According to you, it was a loan. I'm going to stick with the $2,500 because when your daughter and her children need a place to live, you don't say, you have no money, but I'm going to charge you $300 for rent. You'll give it to me when you have it. That's not what a mother does. Do we understand each other, Miss Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So now let's deal with the $2,500 loan. Tell me when you gave her the loan and what it was for.
I gave her the loan at the end of November of '03, and it was for to help with either down payment or something concerning on a place that her children and her husband were going to move into.
When she was living with you, was her husband living with you also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have a house?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
How large a house is it?
It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
And it was just you living there?
No, ma'am.
Who else lives there?
Myself, my husband, and my 2 sons.
You work?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Your husband works?
Yes, ma'am, he does.
What about your 2 sons?
One of them is in college, the other one is working.
Okay. How many children do you have?
I have 2.
And why did you have to move in with your mother?
I fell upon hard times. I lost my job.
And what about your husband? Did he lose his job too?
He was in between jobs.
What kind of work do you do?
I do phlebotomy work. I draw blood.
And he?
He's a crew member at a fast food restaurant.
How old are your children?
I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
How long have you been married?
I've been married 3.5 years.
Okay, your mother gave you $2,500, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you discuss with her paying her back?
No, ma'am.
That's not true.
Go ahead.
Before I loaned her the money, things were getting tight at the house, and she said she had found a place. Could she borrow some money? I asked her how much. She said $2,500. I said, okay, well, how are you going to pay me? She said, well, Mom, you know, I'll get my income tax check in February, and I'll pay you then. I said, okay. And then a few days later, I went to the bank, got a cashier's check, and loaned her the money.
Did she get her income tax check?
She said she did.
When was the first time you asked her for this money back?
It was in March, because February, she wasn't returning any calls to me.
Tell me about the conversation.
Well, when I caught up with her, I said, CC, where's my money? Mom, I'm going to go in and give you the $900 back. No. Where's all my money? I want my $900 and also want my $2,500. $2,500? I thought that was a Christmas gift. I don't think so. I can't just give away $2,500. And so it was like, but Mommy, no, I don't remember. I remember us making an agreement. You and I, your husband stay in the background like you always do, since he's always on a vacation. So when are you going to get my money? I'll talk to you later on. And when she hung up, that teed me off. So then I tried to take it to court.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Over the course of time, I have given loans, spent loads and loads of money on my children. I would never, ever sue them. Never.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sharon Johnson says her daughter, Celicia Simon, owes for a loan to pay her bills. Celicia insists The money was a gift.
You have 2 brothers.
Yes, ma'am.
You know that your mother gave them Christmas presents?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you discuss that with your brothers?
Yeah, like, you know, just when brothers and sisters get together and they discuss
Well, what did
it.
you talk to them about?
Well, my brothers, one of them was getting a car, and then one of them was getting like screens in his car and the big rims on his car or whatever. So it was just like, you know, I'm gonna get back on my feet by getting into my own place. And my one brother would have transportation so he could get a better job, and the other brother, he's the youngest and the most spoiled.
Well, Miss Simon, what I believe is that you acknowledge that you owed your mother $900 for rent, right?
I think that I was thankful for my mother giving me and my family a place to stay. I wasn't able to compensate her.
What your mother said was, when she spoke to you, you said to her, well, I know, Mom, I know I owe you the $900.
I mean, she was calling every... Your Honor, you don't understand.
No, I understand. I don't think that that's something that you have to call for, but if you acknowledge that you owed her the $900 and you did get your income tax refund, which is what she was waiting for, why didn't you give her back the $900?
It was a tight situation, which is why I, you know, needed help in the first place. My family was just in a very bad spot.
Well, then why didn't you call her and say to her, Mom, I know I promised to give you the money back when I got my tax refund, but things are pretty tight. Why did you wait for her to call you?
She knew I was in a bad situation. I didn't feel like I should have to go to her and explain to her, hey, you know, a couple months later, I'm still in a tight situation. I still can't give you any money.
Why, is your mother rich?
No, she's not rich.
She's not rich. How old are you?
I'm 26.
You have 2 children, you have
Yes,
a husband, you have a home, you're an independent person. That means you have to act like a grown-up.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you borrow money from somebody and you acknowledge at least the $900, then if you can't pay them back, the time when you say you're going to pay them back, you pick up the phone and say, I know I said I could pay you back. Can I get a little bit of an extension? Can I give you back something? Can I give you $100?
It became such a big thing that, like, at family gatherings or whatever, it just always wound up being a big argument. She continued to make a huge scene about it every time we got together at family.
Miss Simon.
Yes, ma'am.
Has your mother always been like that? Oh, yes. Big questions, yes or no?
Yes,
Has she
ma'am.
always been like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you shouldn't have borrowed money from her.
I didn't borrow money from her. I told her I needed help.
No. You acknowledge that you owed her at least $900. And if you know that that's the way she is about money, you shouldn't have taken other money from her.
That's how bad I needed it. I mean, it was the last option. I couldn't continue to be there in her house. I didn't want to take my family, you know, to a shelter.
Well, what was your husband doing?
He was working.
Was he working 5 days a week?
Not always.
Is he working now?
Yes, ma'am.
5 days a week?
Yes, ma'am.
And what about you?
I'm a homemaker. I take care of my 2 children.
I just asked you what kind of work you did, and you told me that you drew blood.
Yes, ma'am. I just recently lost a child, so I haven't been working. When I found out I was pregnant at the beginning of the school year, I decided to take the school year off just to be at home a little more with the kids and everything, and also because I was pregnant, and I just recently lost my child.
You're not supposed to have more children until you can support the ones you have. Does that sound harsh to you?
No, ma'am.
I hope not. I mean, I'm telling you this because I think that sometimes people lose sight of that. That if you have 2 children and you have to go back to your mother for money, then you don't make more babies. Having children is very nice as long as you can take care of them. Your mother's not a rich lady, but you can't look at your siblings and say, because they got Christmas presents, I should have gotten one too.
But she's not taking any of them to court. She's taking me to court. I'm the only girl. Those are her precious boys, you know. They got money to go and get a car, you know, to go and get screens in his car. I mean, when I was that age, she wasn't giving me money to go put screens in my car.
I don't think that your mother...
I know she can do what she wants with her
Listen to
money.
me.
Yes,
I don't think that your mother would say that this was a loan unless she honestly believed that this $2,500 that she gave you was money that you were supposed to return. I think that you've been, for want of a better term, and I don't necessarily like this term, I don't think that you can allow your jealousy of your younger brothers to interfere with the rest of your life. If you feel as if your mother favors the 2 boys...
She does.
Well, I don't know whether you were a more difficult child, a less difficult child, who knows? But you will find that during the course of your life there will ebb and flow with regard to which of your children you like better than others. You may love them all, but at various times in their lives you will like some better than others. Fair?
Fair.
Love all. Love them all. Yeah. But at various times, depending upon what they do, to drive you crazy, to make you gray, you will like one more than another. You can't let that interfere with your whole life. Miss Johnson, I'm going to award you your $2,500 for this loan that you gave your daughter, but I'm going to give you a little lecture at the same time.
Yes, ma'am.
Over the course of time, I suppose I have given, loaned, spent, whatever, loads and loads of money on my children. I would never, ever sue them in a court. Never. That's not what parents do to their children, unless the children are really, really bad people. And your daughter may have made some mistakes in her life, but she doesn't seem like a bad person. She's reasonably articulate. She's been in a relationship with her husband for a long time. She has 2 children. This is the husband, right?
Yes.
Well, you may not like him. You may not like him, but I want to tell you something. You didn't like your first husband either. Right?
No, I did.
Right?
Yes,
so you
ma'am.
made a mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
So she doesn't seem like a bad girl. And I'm telling you that while I'm giving you a judgment for $2,500, I think you made a big mistake by suing her. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 475 on the calendar in the matter of Martin versus Hall. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Martin, it is your claim that the defendants, this gentleman in particular, caused damage to your car in an accident, and the accident was his fault. Mr. Hall says that it was your fault, and you don't know why, anyway, that you're suing him because he wasn't driving. It was Miss
Hall
who was driving the car. So you must have not been watching carefully.
Apparently.
When did this incident happen?
September 17th.
Where were you?
I was in Maitland, Florida, turning into a gas station.
What happened, Mr. Martin?
I was turning into the gas station to buy gas, and I seen the Halls coming at a very high rate of speed through the parking lot, so I stopped.
Through the parking lot or through the gas station?
Into the parking lot of the gas station.
There's a chart over there that the Halls brought. Is the red car yours?
That's similar to what happened.
Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the north, turning in just like that shows, and I stopped, and he come crashing into me. He was driving probably about 45 miles an hour through that parking lot.
Okay. What kind of a car were you driving, sir?
Mazda 626.
And where was the car hit?
Right in the passenger side in the front. Knocked the bumper
Do you have a
completely off.
photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it, please?
Sure.
Is there damage to the hood?
The bumper was knocked completely off, and the hood and all the lights were knocked out in the grill.
All right, now what happened after the collision, sir?
After the collision, I started to call the police, and Mr. Hall came over and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Please don't call the police. I'll have someone take care of your car for you." But my car was not drivable. So I proceeded with calling the police, and then I observed Mr. Hall removing the license plate from the car.
From whose car?
From his car. So when
Yes.
the police got there, I told him that he had taken the license plate off of the car and put it in the trunk. He went and found it, and then they claimed that Mrs. Hall was driving, but that is definitely not the case. So the police officer ticketed him for removing the tag from the car because that tag did not belong to their car, and then ticketed her for driving with no insurance and for careless and reckless driving.
On their statement that it was Mrs. Hall who was driving.
That's what they're claiming, yes.
But it wasn't Mrs. Hall who was
No,
driving.
ma'am.
It was Mr. Hall.
Mr. Hall was driving. And on page 2 is the correct diagram. It's very similar to that, but it shows my car in a straight line, not in an angle like that.
Why did you take the plate off the car, Mr. Hall?
Because the plate did not belong to that car, Your Honor.
Why not?
Because we put it on the car to transport the car to a sale lot to put the car up for sale.
Well, where were you coming from, Mr. Hall?
We were going from our residence to the gas station. We were putting gas into the vehicle and then taking the vehicle up to put it up for sale.
Where were you taking it to put it up for sale?
Literally 2 blocks away from there, which is also just a couple blocks away from our residence, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Hall, that doesn't make sense, sir. It doesn't make sense that why you would be putting gas in a car to take it to a place for 2 blocks.
Because it was on dead E, and we're afraid the vehicle would run out if someone was to test drive it, Your Honor.
Huh. When did you buy this car, sir?
A few weeks before that, Your Honor.
From whom?
I
You're
don't
looking
remember.
down at your feet, sir.
I don't remember the name, the gentleman's name, Your Honor.
Did you have a bill of sale for it?
No, ma'am, not on me.
Did you have it then?
No, ma'am, I did not.
You're pretty slippery, sir. Show me where your car was hit, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is your car?
The blue car, Your Honor, is our car.
Right. I got it.
And our car was hit
Now.
right where the highlighted spot is.
I see it. But you passed the gas tank, sir. Did you put gas in the car already?
Yes, ma'am.
Who put the gas in the car?
I believe I did. And I ran
I want
inside.
you to think. I want you to think. Who put the gas in the car?
I put in the gas, Your Honor.
Do you have a license to drive a car?
I do, yes, ma'am.
Did you then?
It was suspended, Your Honor.
So the answer is you did not have a license to drive then.
No, ma'am.
So you had no license, no registration, no insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
So there would have been a good reason for you to lie to the police and tell them that your wife was driving when you were driving. There would have been a reason and a motive because you would have been taken in
There would
if you
have
were
been.
driving on a suspended license. Isn't that correct, sir?
Yes, there's also a reason why I let her drive, because she is legal and not suspended.
Listen to me very carefully, sir. On your best day, you're not as smart as I am on my dumbest day.
I understand, Your Honor.
Good. My question to you was, there was a reason for you to lie to the police, to tell them that your wife was driving the car. There would have been a reason because you had already had your license suspended, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
For not paying a seatbelt ticket, Your Honor.
Baloney. Now, where did you get the license plate from, sir, that you put on this car?
From one of our other vehicles.
How many other vehicles do you have?
2, Your Honor.
Who insures them?
My wife and I do.
With what company?
Progressive, I'm sorry.
And were the other 2 vehicles insured at the time of this accident with Progressive?
Yes, ma'am. May
Why
not have been.
was... What?
Excuse me, Your Honor. May not have been with Progressive. Progressive is our current one, I believe.
Well, why don't you tell me, sir, because it's very easy to check. Why don't you tell me, what was the other company that you were with back in September that insured your other 2 cars?
I don't recall the insurance company off the top of my name, Your Honor.
Off the top of your name, you don't...
Off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
You don't.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous because you're lying, sir. And you know that I'm going to be able to prove that. Before the police arrived, when you took the plate off the car and put it in the trunk, what did you hope to accomplish by that, sir?
Avoiding the ticket for attaching tag not assigned, Your Honor.
Now, don't you get a ticket for driving without tags, period?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what would be the difference in putting the tags in the trunk? You were going to get a ticket either way, either for driving with no tags or for driving with somebody else's tags on your car. So what difference did it make?
None. Except to try keep him from getting a ticket.
Well, don't you think people get tickets, sir, when they drive without license plates?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because that's why you supposedly took the license plate off one car and put it on another, so you wouldn't get a ticket,
Yes,
right?
Your Honor.
So that doesn't make sense to me. What did the police do with that license plate, sir?
They confiscated it, Your Honor.
And what did you do with the car from where the license plate had been removed?
The vehicle stayed right where it was, Your Honor.
And where is it to this day, sir?
In our driveway, Your Honor.
Without license plates?
It has been licensed and insured.
How did you get new license plates for it?
I just applied for a new plate, Your Honor.
You have to say what happened to the old plate, sir, if the car had been registered.
The vehicle hadn't been registered in our name prior to that, Your Honor.
Oh, so you had yet another car in your arsenal of cars that hadn't been registered in your name at the same date that you had this accident.
It's a vehicle that my sister allowed for us to drive because we didn't have a dependable vehicle at the time to drive, Your
Well,
Honor.
what about the third car that you had home, sir?
It wasn't.
Vehicle.
What?
It's a work vehicle.
What is a work vehicle? What does that mean?
It's a truck that we use to do landscaping and lawn maintenance that pulls
So?
a trailer. And it's decaled up, and insurance will not cover that if we are in an accident when we are not working.
Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to play. At the time of this accident on the 17th of September, 2004, who had a driver's license? Raise your hand. At the time of this accident on September 17th, 2004, who had a registered vehicle? On September 17th, 2004, who had a vehicle with appropriate tags on it? On September 17th, 2004, who was driving a car illegally? Good! Perfect. Okay. shooting fish in a barrel. Can I see the estimate for your car, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What a bunch of hustlers. Not you, Mr. Martin.
I also have, Your Honor, a letter from the Halls stating that Mrs. Hall is guilty of this charge because we originally had an agreement for the Halls to pay me $400 a month beginning on November the 10th. And I know you're not going to believe this, but that didn't happen.
The only thing that I don't believe, sir, is that you believed them, that it was going to happen.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
when we separated, we were not on talking terms. I needed money.
So you claimed the children as your deduction, even though he supported them?
Yes, ma'am.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rick Martin says fellow motorists Jennifer and Dennis Hall ran into him in a gas station parking lot. Rick claims Dennis was the driver, but after the accident, he switched places with his wife.
I have a net total of $2,966.35. Is that your estimate?
That's the estimate to fix the rest of the damage. I've already spent over $2,000.
You have those bills?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them, please.
In those estimates, Your Honor, he's also trying to recoup, he's trying to double charge for repairs that he made once originally on his first repair bill.
And I have a listing of those if you'd like to see it.
And then he's trying to get the same repairs covered again on his estimate he previously handed
Are
you.
you trying to do that, sir?
No, ma'am.
Did you have a deductible on the car?
I had only liability. I did not have full coverage on the car because it's paid for.
Okay, what did Allstate pay you?
Allstate only paid the tow bills. And I tried to relay that message to the Halls, but they would not return any of my calls to find that out. So.
They wanted you to go away, like their license plates.
Yes.
Your Honor, he when he originally showed up at our doorstep, he was demanding the $14.95 and repayment as well as new headlights.
So how much? Just a second. So how much did you give him, Mr. Hall?
I gave him $0.
Yeah, now you're going to give him $4,834. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The first thing I thought was they were going to drive away.
We like to buy and sell vehicles, and my husband was in the back seat.
I didn't ask him what he was doing. I took a photograph of the license plate. I could still tell you the number of that license plate right now.
When the gentleman hit us, my husband bounded out of the back seat, driver's side, and of course everybody thought he was getting out of the driver's seat.
I think that they're professional con men or deadbeats. I don't know.
When Jennifer asked to see some type of receipts or anything, he didn't provide any. Instead, he just went and got additional estimates and came up with this claim with that.
When I went to his house, he told me that I was not the first person that he ran into. That would be why he doesn't have a driver's license.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Conger versus Tates, step forward, please.
Plaintiffs Chuck and Karen Conger are suing the father of their grandchild, roofer Jeremiah Tates, for the cost to fix a '97 Ford Escort. The Congers claim Jeremiah's driving caused the transmission to blow.
Mrs. Conger, you have a daughter whose name is Brenda.
Correct.
Let me guess, Brenda.
Yes.
Your stepdaughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is a convoluted story of a car, a 1997 car, that was purchased for your daughter and the defendant, her then boyfriend and father of the two children. And the arrangement was that the two of them would pay you back for the car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they had an off-again, on-again kind of arrangement. And at some point, Mr. Tates took the car with your daughter's permission because she got a new car.
Mm-hmm.
And he was driving the car and making the payments.
Yep.
April Franks is suing Angela and Jean Roberts for the return of money she paid for a female Yorkie poo. April says the couple sold her an emotionally damaged animal.
Bert, would you please take the Roberts' little girl outside, please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Come with me.
Miss Franks, you purchased a dog, I assume this dog, from the defendants.
Yes.
You called them within 24 hours telling them that the dog had some problems. You wanted to return the dog. You ultimately did return the dog. You want your money back.
Yes.
The Roberts seem to believe that they had no responsibility with regard to the dog's condition that you found that was intolerable for you. And they said that they sold the dog, I assume, as is. This is what you get. Mrs. Roberts.
From a breeder in Tupelo.
A breeder?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
It was the end of November, 2007.
Do you have the date?
Not the exact date.
Was it after Thanksgiving?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's give it a date of the 28th of November. And I assume you bought the dog because you have one young child?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she go with you to the breeder?
No, ma'am.
You and your husband went?
Just my husband.
You went?
Yes, ma'am.
How many dogs did the breeder have for sale?
I have no idea how many he had to sell. I think 2. And this is the
How
one
many did you see?
I met him in a town in between where we lived, and he just brought Carly here.
So you didn't go to the breeder's house?
No, ma'am.
So you don't know where he got the dog from?
No, ma'am.
Did you find this person on the internet?
No, in an ad in the Trade Winds paper, a sales paper that we have in our area.
And he told you he had a dog?
Right.
And don't come to my house, I'll meet you halfway, or I'll meet you someplace.
Right.
And they gave you the dog. Did he tell you how old the dog was?
Yes, ma'am.
How old did he say?
At the time, she was 18 months.
And how much did you pay for this 18-month-old dog?
$200.
Did he say why he was selling an 18-month-old dog?
No, he didn't.
Did you discuss this with your wife before you went?
I spoke to the gentleman on the phone about her.
And what did the gentleman, I'm just curious, so even though I'm not taking this for the truth of it, I'd like to know what the gentleman told you about this dog.
He told me that he had 31 dogs, and he was trying to downsize on some of his dogs, and that she had already been bred once, and she had 6 puppies at the time, and he thought it was too many for her, and he was going to sell her and her sister. And he was originally trying to sell both of the dogs, her and her sister. I do not know anything about the other dog. And I told him that we were only interested in buying 1 dog instead of 2, and he said that he would split them up and sell her to us. And we did discuss whether to come to his house or not, but he decided that he
didn't want you at the house if it's in fact true that he had 31 dogs.
Probably.
Probably. Did he want cash or a check?
We just gave him cash. That's all we had.
Of course. So you gave him cash, and then you bring the dog home, and what happened, Miss Roberts?
She was nervous dog. She shook for probably the first month we owned her.
1 month she shook?
Yes, ma'am. And after about a month, when we were around her, she stopped shaking. But the only thing that she ever did the entire time we've ever had her is just sit in your lap. Even after sitting in your lap for a long period of time, she wouldn't indicate that she would want to get down and go eat. We'd have to take her back there to the room we keep her in at night, and she'd eat and take care of her business, and then after that she would scratch on the door, give a little bit of a whining whimper, and want to come out and sit back in your lap again. We tried to get her to play because we did buy her for my 9-year-old. She wanted a little dog to play with, and she's just not a playful dog. She's just a lap dog. So
she's probably from a puppy mill.
Well, when we took her to the vet, that's what he said. He said that either being in a kennel, he said either being in a kennel.
Caged in a kennel and probably came from a puppy mill.
Yes.
So what did you do?
Well, we held on to her for a little bit longer, hoping that maybe she would come out of her shell a little bit and play. And when we were convinced after about 3 months of owning her, she was not ever going to be the playful dog for our daughter
so now
that we
she's
thought.
almost 2 years old.
Yes, ma'am. And after that, we decided that what we would do was try to sell her so that we could take that money and buy a playful puppy for my child.
So you put an ad in the paper?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did the ad say?
It's right here.
What does
it
it say?
says, CKC Yorkie Poo female, small dog, approximately 1.5 years old, 5 to 6 pounds, good health, mostly house-trained, 400, call my husband, and our phone number listed.
That's not the ad that I responded to.
Can I see the ad that you
Yes, it's right
responded
here.
to?
It's highlighted in pink. I was in Columbus only.
Yorkie Poo, CKC, I don't know what that means because they're not AKC registered because she's a mixed breed.
Yes, ma'am, it's Continental Kennel Club.
Approximately 1 year old.
Which she's approximately.
Do I look like I'm needing help from you?
No.
Approximately 1 year old, mostly housebroken, good health, small, 5 to 6 pounds, $400. Ask for Jean. Is that you?
That's my husband.
That's you. Well, that's the ad. Trade Winds Classified.
This one is the Trading Post. We did take one out in the Trading Post and the Trade
Well, this is the one she responded to. So immediately your ad is wrong because the dog was not a year old.
I guess so.
And you were asking for this dog that is now older and you know has certain problems twice as much as what you paid for it.
Correct.
Okay. So you came to the house and?
I went to their house. Carly was sitting in a recliner. She didn't get up or anything when I walked in. She got her, and she put her on the ground on the floor, and she walked around, and I oohed and awed over her for a few minutes. She was shaking, and Angie told me it was because, you know, she didn't like strangers, is what she said. And so, you know, I said, okay, you know, that could be possible. And I petted her and picked her up, and I said that I wanted to get her. And so I left her house. I went to the ATM machine, and I withdrew $400, and I went right back, and I gave her the money. When I got back, she had the CKC certification paper, her pamper pads, because she's not housebroken or mostly at all, and a doggy soap.
Just one second. Are you telling me that you had this dog for 3 months and the dog wasn't housebroken?
She's puppy pad trained, which I consider mostly housebroken because she only goes on the puppy pads.
No. It's probably one of the reasons that you wanted out of the dog, because the dog was a puppy mill dog. The dog was not used to being in a house and being let out. Yeah, sure it is. Okay, you returned the dog when?
That evening after I left, I went to Walmart and I bought food for her. I bought her a bed and some toys. And, you know, the night progressed and she just wasn't acting like I thought she would act. I'm not a professional. So the next morning, I said the best thing I'm going to do is take Carly to the vet. So I took her to the vet, which the office where Amy works, and the vet examined the dog, and I have an animal report here.
I'd like to see it, please.
As well as the invoice.
On February 26, 2008, I examined the above-listed animal because of a complaint of severe emotional issues. The animal would crouch down in the corner and urinate all over itself when touched. It was my opinion that the animal was experiencing fear, anxiety, and the owner would be better off returning the animal to the previous owner. Animals exhibiting such fear, anxiety have special needs that the average pet owner usually is unable to give.
The time we took the dog to the vet was after the fact that April returned her.
They just took the dog to the vet.
You mean you never took the dog to the vet when you got her?
She never urinated on herself or crouched down in
I'm
the
just
corner.
asking you why you never took the dog to the vet.
No, ma'am.
Have either of you ever had pets before?
We have quite a few.
Well, then you knew that this dog's behavior was most unusual.
I was told by several other people, we've never had a small dog like this before.
Right. You have to give her money back. Stop nonsense. You try to unload the dog on somebody else for twice as much as what you paid for it. I mean, usually when a breeder wants to unload an 18-month-old or a 19-month-old dog, they usually give them away to try to find good homes. This guy found a sucker who was willing to pay $200 for it. That doesn't mean that you, when you have the dog, I mean, you're supposed to be reputable people. I don't know about this person who's running a puppy mill, but you're supposed to be reputable people. That means that you got stuck. I'm going to find somebody else to stick with this dog and charge him twice as much.
Right.
That's outrageous. You have the dog? Give her back the papers, please. You owe her $400. That's all.
David Yanas claims fellow clubgoer Travis Pexey vandalized his car with a crowbar. Travis claims David threatened to shoot him.
Mr. Yanas, it is your claim that the defendant, after a night of drinking, are you smiling for a reason?
Oh, no.
Good. Damaged your car, attacked your car. You want him to pay for the damage. Mr. Pexey says that you actually attacked him and ran him over with your car. He was just protecting himself. So why don't you tell me your version of the events? First, when did it happen?
It happened in Saddle Ranch on Saturday, the 13th of February. And what happened was when we were walking, after the club was closed at 2 o'clock, we were walking to the parking lot.
Who's we?
Me and my friend Scott.
So tell me what happened as you were leaving the club.
Okay, so when I was walking towards the car, Travis bumped into me. And when I said, like, you know...
Did you know him before?
No, I didn't know him. That was the first time I ever seen him. He bumped into me, and he just started, like, cussing at me, like, saying, you know, what the F, and this, what's your problem? And I was like, what? And, you know, I'm way bigger than Travis. I was like, man, get out of my face. So then he walked up to me even more aggressive towards me. So when he walked up towards me, I didn't want to hit him. So I grabbed him in a headlock, and I was holding him in a headlock, and then one of his friends were coming up to me. And I was like, you know, it was me by myself at the time because I didn't see my friends there. I was like, man, tell your friend to get back. So when I was holding him...
Are you thirsty already?
Sorry. When I was holding, I told his friend, get back. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't want to start anything with you guys, get back. So that's when Scott showed up, my witness right here. He showed up, and he's like, come on, man, let's get out of here. So I pushed Travis towards his friend, and that's when the other guy, Andy, came, and he's like, come on, let's go, it's not worth it. So I was like, all right, let's get out of here. So I sat in the back seat, Scott sat on the side next to me, and then Andy was driving. Andy was the driver. And we were parked, like, you know, with the front end facing out of the parking. So when we tried to get out this way, his friend stood in front of the car. So what Andy did is he came back and then he went that way to try to avoid him, to get away from him. But in the parking lot, you can only go down one way. You know how the on-ramp is at City Walk? So
Do I know? No, but I can sort of imagine you. You're explaining it very well.
Okay, so we ended up going in a big circle to come out in the same downward on-ramp where he was still at because his car was like kind of by there. So he comes out and I guess that's when Scott saw him when he came out and he threw a crowbar at the car.
Just a second. Did you see him throw the crowbar?
No, I didn't see him.
Your last name, sir?
Lauby.
Mr. Lauby, you were sitting in the front passenger seat?
No, the back driver's seat.
Okay. Who was sitting in the front passenger seat?
David. I was sitting in the back, Your Honor.
Alone?
Yes.
कहते हैं किस्मत के रास्ते हमेशा सीधे नहीं होते। कभी कभी तकदीर इंसान को उन पगडंडियों पर ले जाती है जहां कदमों के निशान भी मिट चुके होते हैं। ऐसी ही एक पगडंडी पर यूसुफ नामी माजूर मोची अपनी किस्मत की सिलाई कर रहा था। यूसुफ एक छोटे से कस्बे में पैदा हुआ था। बचपन में ही एक बीमारी ने इसकी टांगों को कमजोर कर दिया था। अब वो बमुश्किल एक छड़ी के सहारे चलता था, मगर उसकी आंखों में एक अजीब चमक थी, इल्म की प्यास और अक्ल की रोशनी। इसका काम बहुत मामूली था। कस्बे के पुराने बाजार में एक छोटी सी झोंपड़ी में बैठकर वो फटे पुराने जूते सी देता, चमड़े की पैबंदकारी करता और थोड़े बहुत सके कमा लेता। लोग इसे माजूर यूसुफ कहते थे। कुछ तरस खाते, कुछ हिकारत से देखते, मगर यूसुफ कभी किसी के रवैये पर शकवा नहीं करता। वो हमेशा मुस्करा कर कहता, अगर किस्मत ने मेरे कदम छीन लिए तो क्या हुआ, मेरे ख्वाब अब भी दौड़ सकते हैं। एक दिन जब सूरज डूब रहा था और बाजार सुनसान हो चुका था, यूसुफ अपनी दुकान के बाहर बैठा एक पुराना जूता सीने में मसरूफ था। तभी एक बूढ़ा फकीर वहां से गुजरा। इसकी आंखें जैसे सदियों का इल्म समेटे हुए थी। फकीर ने यूसुफ को गौर से देखा और बोला, ए लड़के, ताव जानता है किस्मत और अक्ल का राज क्या है? यूसुफ ने हैरानी से सर उठाया, फिर धीरे से कहा, मैं सिर्फ इतना जानता हूं कि किस्मत मुझ पर मेहरबान नहीं हुई और अक्ल मुझे इस हाल में जीने का हुनर सिखा रही है। फकीर मुस्कुराया, जेब से एक पुराना सिक्का निकाला और यूसुफ की तरफ बढ़ाया। ये सिक्का ले ले, जब वक्त आए ये तेरी अक्ल को आजमाएगा, मगर याद रख, किस्मत के दरवाजे पर दस्तक देने वाले हाथ को हमेशा अक्ल की चिराग से रोशनी देनी चाहिए। यूसुफ ने अदब से सिक्का ले लिया, मगर उसके दिल में सवालात की एक लहर उठ चुकी थी। ये कौन था? ये सिक्का कैसा राज रखता था? अगले दिन कस्बे में शोर मच गया। ऐलान हुआ कि बादशाह सलामत, जो अपनी सख्ती, जुल्म और गुरूर के लिए मशहूर थे, दौरा पर आ रहे हैं। बादशाह का नाम सिकंदर बन जलाल था। कहते थे कि इसके दरबार में सच बोलने वाले का सर कलम कर दिया जाता था और खुशामदियों को इनामात मिलते थे। कस्बे के लोग डरे हुए थे। हर कोई अपनी दुकान, अपने घर को बादशाह के इस्तकबाल के लिए सजाने लगा। यूसुफ भी अपनी झोंपड़ी साफ कर रहा था जब एक शाही मुहाफिज आया और गुरोती हुए बोला, ए माजूर मोची, बादशाह सलामत के लिए खास जूते बनाने का हुक्म है। खबरदार अगर जरा सी भी गलती हुई। यूसुफ ने दिल ही दिल में दुआ की और अपनी तमाम महारत लगाकर बादशाह के लिए एक खूबसूरत जूता तैयार करना शुरू कर दिया। चमड़ा नरम, सिलाई नफीस और हर पैबंद में एक कहानी छपी हुई थी। वो जूता सिर्फ एक जूता नहीं था, ये यूसुफ के ख्वाबों का, इसकी मेहनत का और उसकी अक्ल का शाहकार था। जब दिन मुकर्रर आया तो बादशाह अपने सुनहरे तख्त पर बैठा और कस्बे के कारीगरों को एक एक करके बुलाया जाने लगा। जो भी बादशाह की तवक्को पर पूरा ना उतरता, उसे सख्त सजा दी जाती। यूसुफ की बारी आखिर में थी। वो अपनी छड़ी के सहारे धड़कते दिल के साथ जूता लेकर बादशाह के सामने हाजिर हुआ। सिकंदर बिन जलाल ने सर्द निगाहों से यूसुफ को देखा, फिर जूता अपने हाथ में लिया। लम्हों की खामोशी छा गई। बादशाह ने कहा, यह जूता बेऐब है, मगर बनाने वाला माजूर है। क्या एक माजूर का बनाया हुआ जूता मेरे शाही कदमों के लायक है? दरबारियों ने कहकहा लगाया, मगर यूसुफ ने नजरें नीची रखते हुए धीरे से कहा, बादशाह सलामत, जूता अक्ल और हुनर का बनाया हुआ है, जिस्म की ताकत का नहीं। अगर जूते की पायदारी आपकी अक्ल को तस्कीन दे तो जान लीजिए ये माजूरी नहीं, अक्ल का कमाल है। दरबार में खामोशी छा गई। बादशाह ने गौर से यूसुफ को देखा, फिर सर्द लहजे में बोला, ठीक है, मैं तेरी अक्ल को आजमाऊंगा। अगर तू मेरा सवाल हल कर पाया तो इनाम पाएगा, वरना जान से जाएगा। यूसुफ ने दिल ही दिल में फकीर का दिया हुआ सिक्का मजबूती से मुट्ठी में दबा लिया। शायद किस्मत का राज अब खिलने वाला था। दरबार की फिजा संगीन हो चुकी थी। बादशाह सिकंदर बिन जलाल अपनी तलाई तलवार के दस्ते पर हाथ रखे ठंडी निगाहों से यूसुफ को देख रहा था। यूसुफ ने अपनी कमजोर टांगों पर खड़ा होकर फकीर का दिया हुआ सिक्का मुट्ठी में मजबूती से पकड़ रखा था, जैसे इसी में इसकी हिम्मत छपी हो। बादशाह ने अपने वजीर खास को इशारा किया। वजीर आगे बढ़ा और बुलंद आवाज में बोला, माजूर मोची यूसुफ, सुनो, बादशाह सलामत तुमसे एक सवाल करेंगे। अगर सही जवाब दिया तो इनाम का हकदार ठहरोगे, वरना जान से जाओगे। यूसुफ ने गर्दन झुकाकर कहा, फरमान आली, सुनने को तैयार हूं। बादशाह ने अपनी भारी आवाज में कहा, बता अक्ल बड़ी आकिस्मत। दरबार में सरगोशियां होने लगी। कुछ लोग मुस्करा दिए। उन्हें यकीन था कि एक माजूर मोची के लिए यह सवाल पहाड़ जैसा था। मगर यूसुफ ने अपनी छड़ी को जमीन पर टेकते हुए आंखें बंद कर ले। लम्हा भर की खामोशी के बाद इसने धीरे से कहा, अक्ल वो चिराग है जिसकी रोशनी से किस्मत के अंधेरे को चीर कर मंजिल पाई जाती है। बगैर अक्ल के किस्मत का दरवाजा भी नजर नहीं आता, और बगैर किस्मत के अक्ल राहों में भटक सकती है। मगर अगर अक्ल जिंदा हो तो किस्मत को झुकाया जा सकता है। यूं कहिए, अक्ल गाड़ी है और किस्मत इसका रास्ता। मगर रास्ता कितना भी कठिन हो, अगर गाड़ी मजबूत हो तो मंजिल जरूर पाली जाती है। दरबार में हलचल मच गई। बादशाह ने अपनी कुर्सी पर थोड़ा आगे झुककर यूसुफ को गौर से देखा। वजीर खास ने पूछा, बादशाह सलामत, क्या यह जवाब कबूल किया जाए? बादशाह ने अपनी उंगलियों से दस्तार को सहलाते हुए कहा, अभी नहीं, माजूर मोची को दूसरा सवाल भी देना होगा। किस्मत का राज एक जवाब से नहीं खिलता। यूसुफ ने दिल ही दिल में दुआ की। अचानक इसकी नजर अपनी मुट्ठी पर पड़ी। फकीर का सिक्का अब भी इसके हाथ में बंद था। यूसुफ ने सोचा, शायद यही वक्त है इस राज को समझने का। बादशाह ने दूसरा सवाल किया, अच्छा बता, अगर दो आदमी हों, एक के पास बेपना दौलत हो मगर अक्ल ना हो, और दूसरे के पास अक्ल हो मगर दौलत ना हो, तो दोनों में से ज्यादा खुश कौन होगा? दरबार फिर गूंज उठा। यह सवाल आम सा था, मगर उसका जवाब जानलेवा हो सकता था। यूसुफ ने गहरी सांस ली, फिर आहिस्ता से बोला, बादशाह सलामत, जिसके पास दौलत है मगर अक्ल नहीं, वो खुशी के मानी नहीं जानता। वो खजाने पर बैठा प्यासा है। और जिसके पास अक्ल है मगर दौलत नहीं, वो हर हाल में खुशी का चश्मा तलाश कर लेता है, कभी सब्र में, कभी दुआ में, कभी सादा रोटी में। लिहाजा अक्लमंद ही हकीकी खुश नसीब है। दरबार में सन्नाटा छा गया। सब निगाहें बादशाह के चेहरे पर मरकूज थीं। बादशाह ने गहरी नजरों से यूसुफ को देखा और अपने वजीर को करीब बिलाकर सरगोशी की। यह लड़का आम नहीं लगता, इसमें कोई राज है। वजीर ने धीरे से जवाब दिया, बादशाह सलामत, अगर हुक्म हो तो इसी वक्त इसे कैद करवा दें, कहीं यह अक्लबाद में मसला ना बन जाए। मगर बादशाह ने मुस्कुरा कर कहा, नहीं, मैं इसकी अक्ल का इम्तिहान मजीद सख्त करूंगा। अभी खेल बाकी है। बादशाह ने यूसुफ से कहा, तेरा जवाब पसंद आया, मगर मेरा दिल अभी मुतमईन नहीं। कल सुबह तुझे शाही महल में बिलाकर एक और इम्तिहान दिया जाएगा। अगर कामयाब हुआ तो इनाम व इकराम मिलेगा, नाकाम हुआ तो सर तन से जुदा। यूसुफ ने खामोशी से सर झुकाकर कहा, फरमाबरदारी आली जा। इस रात यूसुफ अपनी झोंपड़ी में बैठा रहा। आसमान पर सितारे टुमटमा रहे थे और जमीन पर एक माजूर मोची अपनी किस्मत के रास्ते पर अगले कदम का सोच रहा था। इसने अपनी मुट्ठी खोली, वो पुराना सिक्का अब भी चमक रहा था, जैसे रात की तारीकी में उम्मीद की किरण हो। यूसुफ ने सिक्का हाथ में लेकर दुआ की, ए मालिक कायनात, मुझे अक्ल की रोशनी दे के मैं अंधेरे में भी अपना रास्ता देख सकूं। اور اگر میری قسمت میں کچھ اچھا لکھا ہے تو اس کا دروازہ میرے علم کی دستک سے کھل جائے۔ اسی سوچ میں یوسف کو نیند آ گئی۔ دوسری صبح جب سورج نکلا تو محل کے دروازے پر یوسف کا انتظار ہو رہا تھا۔ محافظوں نے اسے قید خانے کی طرف نہیں بلکہ محل کے سنہرے باغ میں لے جایا، جہاں بادشاہ اپنے دوسرے سوالات کے ساتھ تیار کھڑا تھا۔ مگر یوسف کو ابھی معلوم نہ تھا کہ جو امتحان اس کا انتظار کر رہا تھا وہ صرف عقل کا نہیں، قسمت کا بھی سخت ترین امتحان ہوگا۔ سورج اپنی سنہری کرنوں کے ساتھ محل کے باغات کو روشن کر رہا تھا۔ چڑیوں کی چہچہاہٹ کے بیچ میں معذور موچی یوسف اپنی چھڑی کے سہارے آہستہ آہستہ شاہی باغ میں داخل ہوا۔ محافظوں نے اسے گھیر رکھا تھا مگر یوسف کے چہرے پر خوف نہیں تھا، بلکہ ایک پراسرار سکون تھا، جیسے وہ جانتا ہو کہ قسمت کا پہلا دروازہ کھلنے ہی والا ہے۔ بادشاہ سکندر بن جلال سنہرے تخت پر بیٹھا ایک نایاب سفید باز کو اپنی انگلی پر نچا رہا تھا۔ بادشاہ کے چہرے پر غرور اور آنکھوں میں کڑا امتحان دینے کی نیت صاف جھلک رہی تھی۔ بادشاہ نے اشارہ کیا تو وزیر خاص نے یوسف کے قریب آ کر اعلان کیا، موچی یوسف، آج بادشاہ سلامت تمہیں 3 راستے دکھائیں گے۔ ہر راستے پر ایک آزمائش چھپی ہوگی۔ تمہیں عقل، صبر اور قسمت تینوں کا امتحان دینا ہوگا۔ اگر کامیاب رہے تو انعامات کے حقدار ٹھہرو گے، ورنہ انجام دردناک ہوگا۔ یوسف نے دل میں اللہ کا نام لیا اور سر جھکا کر کہا، قبول ہے۔ بادشاہ نے حکم دیا، پہلا راستہ سامنے کے اس باغ کی طرف جاتا ہے جہاں ایک سونے کا درخت لگا ہے۔ تجھے حکم ہے اس درخت سے بغیر ہاتھ لگائے ایک سونا کا پتوا توڑ کر لا۔ دربار کے سارے لوگ ہنس دیے۔ ایسا کام کیسے ممکن تھا؟ یوسف نے سنا مگر اس کی پلکیں بھی نہ جھپکیں۔ وہ دھیرے دھیرے چھڑی کی کتا ہوا سونے کے درخت کی طرف بڑھا۔ جب قریب پہنچا تو درخت پر جھلملاتے پتوئی سورج کی روشنی میں چمک رہے تھے، جیسے ستارے زمین پر اتر آئے ہوں۔ یوسف نے اپنی جیب سے وہی پرانا فقیر کا دیا ہوا سکہ نکالا۔ اس نے غور سے سکہ دیکھا۔ سکہ بہت ہلکا تھا مگر اس پر کچھ عجیب و غریب نشان بنے تھے، جیسے کوئی رمز ہو۔ یوسف نے ایک ترکیب سوچی۔ اس نے سکہ اپنی چھڑی کے آخری سرے پر رکھا اور آہستہ سے چھڑی کو اوپر اٹھایا۔ ہوا میں چھڑی کو ہلکا سا ہلایا اور سکہ سونے کے پتوئی کو چھوتے ہی گرا دیا۔ مگر حیرت انگیز بات یہ ہوئی کہ سکہ جیسے ہی پتوئی کو چھو کر زمین پر گرا، پتوا بھی ڈھیلا ہو کر جھڑ گیا اور زمین پر آ گرا۔ یوسف نے بغیر ہاتھ لگائے پتوا زمین سے اٹھایا، اپنی چھڑی پر رکھا اور واپس بادشاہ کے سامنے لا کر پیش کر دیا۔ دربار میں سنوٹا چھا گیا۔ بادشاہ کی آنکھیں حیرت سے پھیل گئیں۔ وزیر خاص نے حیرانی سے پوچھا، یہ کیسے ممکن ہوا؟ یوسف نے عاجزی سے کہا، عقل سے عالیجا، ہاتھوں کی نہیں حکمت کی طاقت سے۔ بادشاہ نے دانت پیس کر کہا، ٹھیک ہے، مگر ابھی دوسرا راستہ باقی ہے۔ بادشاہ نے اپنے محافظوں کو اشارہ کیا۔ محافظ یوسف کو ایک سنگین راہداری میں لے گئے۔ راہداری کے آخر میں ایک بند دروازہ تھا جس پر لکھا تھا، یہ دروازہ صرف صبر سے کھلتا ہے، طاقت سے نہیں۔ محافظ نے قہقہا لگا کر کہا، دیکھتے ہیں معذور موچی صبر سے دروازہ کیسے کھولتا ہے۔ یوسف نے دروازے کے قریب جا کر اس پر ہاتھ رکھا۔ دروازہ ٹھنڈا تھا، جیسے صدیوں سے بند ہو۔ اس نے بند آنکھوں سے کچھ دیر دعا کی، پھر دروازے کے پاس بیٹھ کر خاموشی سے انتظار کرنے لگا۔ وقت گزرتا رہا۔ 1 گھنٹہ، 2 گھنٹے، 3 گھنٹے۔ محافظ بور ہونے لگے، درباری ہنسنے لگے، مگر یوسف اپنی جگہ سے نہ ہلا، صرف خاموشی، دعا اور صبر۔ 4تھے گھنٹے کے اختتام پر اچانک دروازے میں ایک ہلکی سی چرچراہٹ ہوئی، پھر دروازہ خود بخود دھیرے دھیرے کھلنے لگا۔ سب حیرت سے اپنی آنکھیں ملنے لگے۔ یوسف نے دھیرے سے چھڑی سنبھالی اور مسکراتے ہوئے دروازے سے گزر گیا۔ بادشاہ غصے سے پیچ و تاب کھانے لگا مگر اسے کچھ کہنا مناسب نہ لگا۔ بادشاہ نے اپنے دانت بھینچتے ہوئے کہا، آخری راستہ بچا ہے، قسمت کا، دیکھیں قسمت تیرے ساتھ ہے یا نہیں۔ بادشاہ نے یوسف کو محل کے پچھواڑے میں لے جا کر 3 صندوق دکھائے۔ بادشاہ نے کہا، ان میں سے ایک صندوق میں خزانہ ہے، ایک میں سانپ ہے اور ایک میں صرف خالی دھوکہ۔ किस्मत आजमाओ, एक संदूक खोलो। मुहाफिज हंसने लगे। यूसुफ ने तीनों संदूकों को गौर से देखा। पहला संदूक थोड़ा सा झुका हुआ था, जैसे अंदर कुछ भारी चीज हो। दूसरा संदूक साफ सुथरा था, मगर इस पर सांप की हल्की सी खुशबू महसूस हो रही थी। तीसरा संदूक हल्का सा खिलखिला रहा था, जैसे अंदर हुआ कैद हो। यूसुफ ने गहरी सांस ली। अपनी छड़ी से धीरे से पहले संदूक का ढक्कन ऊपर उठाया। सबकी सांसें रुक गईं। संदूक खुला और अंदर से सुनहरी सिक्का और हीरे जवाहरात चमकने